In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis as trader flags 100,000 Bitcoin price action as a magnet. Also breaking news, the university professor on state of Wisconsin investment board is buying 160 million worth of the Bitcoin ETF. She says, I think it is just an entry point. Let's go. Also, Gary Gensler violates the mission of the SEC every day and has been the worst thing to ever happen to the SEC, according to Congressman Tom Emmer. Tell him. Also, Berkshire Hathaway crashed by 99.7%, and Warren Buffett's net worth went from over $100 billion to $1 billion today in a so-called glitch. Interesting. We'll also be discussing Qatar Central Bank launches its first phase of their CBDC, central bank digital currency, and Australia gets their first spot ETF that holds Bitcoin directly. We'll also be sharing MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor settle the tax case with the IRS for $40 million, as well as Roaring Kitty's GameStop gains soar $300 million with billionaire status nearby. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin post-halving. Run may reach between $130,000 and $150,000 by this particular date, according to veteran crypto trader Peter Brandt. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. Welcome everyone just joining the live stream. If you guys can pump the likes, make sure to subscribe to the channel and repost this to spread the word. It's greatly appreciated. Today is pod episode number 1659. I'm your host JV and it's June 3rd, 2024. The markets are pumping. Bitcoin back in the green, up 1,700 on the day. We already recaptured 70,000. We're still above 69,300 at the time of the live stream. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day. Bitcoin in the green, up 2%. Ether in the red, while the majority of the alts are also pumping and in the green. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, we're sitting at a 2.57 trillion market cap with 87 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance back on the rise at 53.2%, with the Ether dominance back on the decline at 17.7%. My question for the fam, how high do you think the Bitcoin Dom will likely climb for this particular cycle? Holla at your boy. And also shout out to CoinMarketCap. If you don't know, I am also featured as a content creator in the top community accounts. And if you guys can follow me over on CoinMarketCap, it's greatly appreciated. Now, checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours, we have Dog Go to the Moon coin. Interesting. Up 20% with almost $1 million market cap. I've never heard of this one. It must be brand new. Interesting. Dog to the Moon coin. Then we have Floki up 16%, followed by Kaspa up 14%. Below that, Athena, Dog with Hat, and Mina. It almost seems like you put a dog on a crypto as far as a name, and it's a top gainer. Crypto community loves dogs. I'm kind of shocked. Where's all the cat coins? I don't typically see top gainer cat coins, but we have frog coins like Pepe and plenty of dog coins, including Bonk, that have gone pretty bonkers in the alt market. But I digress. Which alts are you guys most bullish on for this particular bull? Holla. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective on the day. Whoa, safe to say 90% of the market in the green, impressive gains overall. Zooming out on the monthly for a broader perspective, I'd say 75% in the green with some big gainers, again, including Dog up 200%. And he's wearing a Bitcoin hoodie, so maybe that's on the Bitcoin blockchain. Can someone clarify that one for me? Let me know. We have Ondo, Brett up 150%, Jasmine up 90%, Pepe up 66%, even XMR Monero up 24% on the month. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index today, same as yesterday, at 73 greed, last week at 74, and last month at 67 in greed. So there you have it, my crypto fam.
Get it on. Yeah. Had the people on my back to get a song. Bears broke, have a talk, we smoked them like a bomb.
Anyways, fam, let's keep it moving. Let's discuss some astrology for the broskies, aka TA. Headline reads, Bitcoin battles key resistance as trader flags 100,000 as Bitcoin price magnet. That's right, yo. This is the 1 hour chart. Bitcoin already broke 70,000 this morning at the June 3rd Wall Street Open as upside after the prior daily close continued. And trading views showed Bitcoin price surging nearly 4%. The bulls began the week with a fresh bid to flip 69,000, the side of Bitcoin's old 2021 all-time high, and a key psychological level back to firm support. Analyzing the current landscape on the exchange order books, popular trader Scoo noted a price premium in place on perpetual swaps. Quoting them here, spot market still in control here. Pay close attention around 70,000. Would like to see continued decline and premium towards more of a spot premium. Now, the latest data from CoinGlass showed Bitcoin eating into the overhead liquidity above 70,000 as outlined here in the chart, with little nearby resistance remaining at the time of this being published. The 66 and 72,000 levels remain important from a liquidity perspective. Eyes on those levels, according to Dan, Crypto Trades. Bitcoin's relatively brisk gains, meanwhile, spark fresh calls for a return to price discovery, which means 73.8 and above. Nearly 3 months after hitting its latest all-time highs, Bitcoin now has a target of $100,000, according to Calio. Quoting the analyst here, it's time for round two. Let's get ready to rumble. 100,000 is a magnet. Let me know if you agree with that. Now let's discuss a little Ether ETF. Equally optimistic, trading firm QCP saw favorable market conditions enduring for both Bitcoin and the alts. Crypto as a whole, is argued in the latest market update, would benefit from the final go-ahead and launch of the spot Ether ETFs here in the States. The landmark event is expected this month of June, quoting the analyst here. This bullishness is likely to continue as the market waits for the ETH spot ETF to usher in new demand. The options market certainly reflects this, with ETH volume still trading 15% over the Bitcoin volumes. Quoting him here, another reason for persistent bullishness is speculators increasing long positions in other crypto majors in anticipation of additional spot Ether approvals in the near future. So the million-dollar question becomes, do you think the ETH ETF will officially launch? It already got the approval from the regulators. Do you think it will officially launch this month? Let me know. Now for some of the breaking news. University professor on State of Wisconsin Investment Board said they're buying $160 million worth of the Bitcoin ETF, and that I think it is just an entry point. As game theory continues, family, this is a big story. Also, other breaking news, Tom Emmer calls out Gary Gensler and says he has been the worst thing that has ever happened to the SEC. And he also says Gary Gensler violates the mission of the SEC every day. Shout out to Congressman Emmer for keeping him honest. Something we need to do. Get rid of that fraudster already. In my humble opinion, Gary Gensler needs to be replaced. Let me know your thoughts. Now, another breaking news. Berkshire Hathaway stock got halted after losing 99.9%. You can't make this ish up. So it literally took down Warren Buffett's net worth from like $130 billion to $1 billion. It was some form of glitch. All we know is that never will happen with Bitcoin. So Edward Snowden tweeted, Bitcoin fixes this. Amen to that. And shout out to Edward Snowden, by the way. Our next story of the day, we're going to be discussing Qatar. Unfortunately, not regarding Bitcoin adoption, but Bitcoin's worst enemy, the central bank digital currency. Yeah, check this out. Qatar Central Bank launches the first phase of their CBDC. The Qatar Central Bank completed the infrastructure for the CBDC project and launched the first phase of an experimental project. The QCB will look at settlements of large payments amongst large local and international banks. Few details of the project were released. The state news agency said it would focus on distributed ledger tech, artificial intelligence, enhancing liquidity, and transactions with securities. The project will run through October. The QCB began studying CBD tech back in March of 2022 and confirmed that it was launching a project in June of that year. And according to the press report, the QCP governor, Mohammed, said that Qatar's Economic Forum in May were in the foundation stage and evaluating the pros and cons of issuing a CBDC. The pros, 0 for humanity, 0 for their people. The cons, total control, tyranny, What can go wrong with programmable digital fiat, family? Just saying. The neighboring UAE was a founding member of the mBridge project, along with China, Hong Kong, and Thailand. It already began to use the mBridge to transfer remittance payments to India for the wholesale transfers among the mBridge project members. The UAE also participated in a CBDC proof of concept called Project Aber with Saudi Arabia that ended in 2020. Now, a day before the announcement of the CBDC project, the QCB launched a new fintech sandbox. The Express Sandbox offers a reduced testing period, rapid testing cycles, and a streamlined overall evaluation process for eligible participants. Like the new sandbox, the CBDC project was described as part of official national development strategies, although none of the strategies mention CBDC explicitly. Meanwhile, the Qatar Financial Center Regulation Authority, a business development jurisdiction in the country, banned virtual asset services from operating there. In 2020, the Financial Action Task Force criticized Qatar last year in 2023 for not enforcing that ban and lacking an understanding of more complex forms of money laundering and terrorist financing. Rumors circulated in the crypto community in March that the Qatar Investment Authority would invest heavily in Bitcoin, but there is doubt about the likelihood of that. That's right. The rumor was there was a $500 million via a sovereign wealth fund in which Qatar was looking to put into the King crypto. I know Max blew the whistle on that story. If we get any more developments regarding that, we'll let you know. Some also speculate that Mr. 100 could potentially be a nation state, such as Qatar or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or even Abu Dhabi. In fact, initially, Max was calling it Qatar, Mr. 100, but now he believes it to be Abu Dhabi over there in the UAE. So let me know your thoughts. Big news coming out of Australia. The headline here reads, Australia gets their first spot ETF that holds Bitcoin directly. We told you it was coming. Australia's first spot ETF for Bitcoin that holds the asset directly is set to launch for trading when the markets open on Tuesday. Tomorrow. Yes, that's right. The monochrome Bitcoin ETF, IBTC, will begin trading at the market open on the CBOE Australia Exchange Tuesday, June 4th. Another one bites the dust. Yes. Australia already has several ETF products offering exposure to Bitcoin, but monochrome asset management is the first to get the approval under the new crypto asset licensing category made under the Australian Financial Services Licensing Rule in 2021, as celebrated here by Monochrome on X. We're proud to host 120 guests in Sydney last week to celebrate the upcoming launch of the monochrome Bitcoin ETF. This milestone marks a significant step in our journey, empower investors with the tools and confidence to navigate the digital financial landscape. It allows the ETF to hold Bitcoin directly, Monochrome said. IBTC's holdings are stored offline in a device not connected to the internet. That would be cold storage. And with a crypto custody solution, which meets the Australian institutional custody regulatory standards, quoting them again. Before IBTC, Australian investors were only able to invest in ETFs that are directly holding Bitcoin or through offshore Bitcoin products, both of which don't benefit from the investor protection rules under the directly held crypto assets AFS licensing regime. Now, unlike its counterparts in the US, which are cash create, the ETF allows in-kind redemptions from investors. Wow. Monochrome CEO Jeff Yu shared he anticipates strong interest in his firm's ETF given the consistent growth of indirect Bitcoin ETF products in the recent months. He confirmed the firm is ready to build and launch an Ether ETF, which will also hold the asset directly. We are also exploring other thematic opportunities within the digital asset sector to meet investor demand. The launch of IBTC in Australia comes just a little over a month after the launch of the 4 spot Bitcoin ETFs in Hong Kong, which were launched on April 30th. However, 3 out of the 4 Hong Kong ETFs have cumulative net outflows since launching, with the exception of Bacera's spot Bitcoin ETF. US Bitcoin ETFs have fared way better, with a cumulative inflow of almost 14 billion, offset by almost 18 billion of outflows from the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC. Now, you claim that Australia was a very crypto-heavy country and expects local spot Bitcoin ETFs to generate between 3 billion and 4 billion worth of net inflows within the first 3 years. So there you go, crypto bros. What are your thoughts with Australia launching their Bitcoin spot ETF tomorrow on the 4th? And what other countries do you think will likely follow next? Holla at your boy. Our next story of the day, here's the latest with the Giga Chad Mike Saylor. MicroStrategy and Saylor settled their tax case with the IRS for $40 million. That's right. You remember this story? The technology firm MicroStrategy, the first to put the Bitcoin on the balance sheet as a publicly traded company, agreed to pay a $40 million deal to end the lawsuit accusing him of evading income tax. Yeah, it's like a man worth $15 billion, or at least this company is worth $15 billion. I don't think he's so concerned over a $40 million, tax debt. But anyways, the New York Times reported June 3rd that the Attorney General of the District of Columbia reached a $40 million settlement with Saylor and MicroStrategy. According to the report, local officials assessed the agreement as the biggest ever income tax fraud recovery in the district. It is reportedly the first lawsuit under the district's amended False Claims Act, which encourages whistleblowers to file tax evasion claims against residents allegedly hiding residents' information. The District of Columbia sued Saylor and his company MicroStrategy. That was back in August of 2022, alleging the executive paid no income taxes in the district for at least 10 years that he lived there. And according to the claims, the firm helped Saylor evade more than $25 million in DC income tax. Experts originally suggest that Saylor could see $75 million and penalties. The tax fraud suit forced Saylor to resign as the CEO of MicroStrategy in August of 2022, 33 years after founding the firm. He immediately assumed the new role of executive chairman and continued to serve as chairman on the board of directors. Despite leaving the CEO position, Saylor continued to maintain MicroStrategy's image as a Bitcoin-friendly company, regularly announcing new Bitcoin purchases on his X account. One of MicroStrategy's recent big purchases was made in March of 2024 with buying 12,000 Bitcoin through a $800 million convertible note offering, in which he shared here back on March 11th. MicroStrategy has acquired an additional 12,000 biddies for $820 million using proceeds from convertible notes and excess cash for $68,000 per Bitcoin. And he announced as of March 10th, MicroStrategy holds 205,000 Bitcoin acquired for $6.9 billion. And since then, he has been stacking sats. I think the new total is closer to 220,000 BTC. Well, here's the latest update, actually, 214,000 BTC at an average purchase price of 35,000 Bitcoin. Per Bitcoin. Saylor emerged as a major Bitcoin bull and tech advocate due to the large investments and notable Bitcoin-related activity on social media. He is a prominent figure, I'd say one of the top figures here in Bitcoin. Saylor isn't quite an early Bitcoin adopter, though. His journey to becoming a Bitcoin billionaire began in 2020 when he announced on X, or back then Twitter, that he had bought 17,700 Bitcoin for $175 million. Before the announcement, Saylor could have been referred to as more of a Bitcoin naysayer. Let's not forget, on December 7, 2013, as the internet never forgets, lacking a credible sponsor, Bitcoin is in imminent danger of being regulated out of existence. So back then, he had zero faith in Bitcoin. And it took him 7 years to come around, adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset for his company. The rest is history, family. So there you go. Glad to hear that he has settled the BS with the, tax authorities and that he's getting that settled. And it is what it is. Yeah, Saylor's worth billions, so I don't think he's so concerned over the $40 million slap on the wrist. As you just said, Greg, no biggie. Michael Saylor's personally holds over 17,000 biddies worth over $1 billion. That's his personal stash? Personal? Jesus. So that's pretty wild. But anyways, fam, next story of the day, let's discuss a very interesting story. Roaring Kitty's GameStop gains soared to $300 million with billionaire status nearby. Some are saying this is the best trader of all time. So let's break this down. It's not related to crypto. It's the stock market, but it's a pretty amazing victory for this trader. So we're going to break it down nonetheless. GameStop stock could make Keith Gill, known as the Roaring Kitty, the first GME billionaire as early as this week, while the short sellers are bleeding profits. That's right, Gill, the trader, widely credited with kickstarting the GameStop saga, is currently up over $300 million in his GME position. Let's go. Provided that GameStop's rally continues, Gil could become a billionaire as soon as this week, according to the GBC letter. Quoting them here, Roaring Kitty is currently up over $300 million in his GME position. The stock has now added $5 billion of market cap today alone. Good Lord, where's all this money come from? He could become a billionaire this week. The prediction follows a 74% price surge from the GME stock in pre-market trading today on Monday, according to Google Finance. Good Lord. Numbers don't lie, yo. Interest in the GME stock was renewed this week after Gil posted on Reddit that he is holding $181 million worth of GME stock and call options, according to the June 2nd post. His screenshot revealed that he purchased 5 million GME shares worth $115 million and put $65 million into call options, betting that GME would be at least $20 a share on June 21st. GME stock price is up over 25% in the past 5 days and over 40% during the past month, trading at $23 as of this morning. I mean, check that out. And when the first GameStop short squeeze started back in 2021, GME stock soared over 1,000% within the month. And according to a May 30X post by financial data provider S3, GameStop short sellers are getting wrecked and have taken a month-to-month loss of approximately $1.4 billion. The GBC letter said on June 3rd that Citron Research was the latest firm to announce its short GME position, quoting them here. Citron Research was the latest short seller to announce a short position. On May 16th, Citron announced that they are short GME again. In 2021, Citron lost over $100 million shorting GME. And in January 2021, Citron Research was forced to close out its short GME positions at a loss due to the retail buying frenzy kickstarted by Gil. So there you have it, yo. Roaring Kitty. Pretty impressive, yo. Any one of you guys trading stocks or GameStop, curious, let me know. Now for our featured story of the day. Let's discuss this prediction by the veteran crypto trader Peter Brandt. He says Bitcoin post-halving run may reach between $130,000 and $150,000 per BTC by September 2025. So virtually a year out, family. Let's break this one down. Bitcoin can reach a cycle peak of 130,000 to 150,000 between late August to early September if it follows the trajectory of the previous post-halving bull markets, according to the veteran trader Peter Brandt. The recently passed April 20th Bitcoin halving, 420, was actually on 419, but for some people in some countries, it was 420. I think it was like 8 p.m. Eastern here in the States, but I digress. It is a coded event which occurs every 4 years, slashing the mining rewards by 50%. The halving dates represent almost perfect symmetry within the past bull market cycles, according to Brandt's latest report. He claimed historically the Bitcoin halving date has sat almost in the middle of when the bull market starts and when it reaches its peak. The last Bitcoin bull market started about 16 months before the halving on May 11th, 2020, and the cycle ended about 18 months after that, according to Brandt's analysis. Brandt noted that the two previous halvings, July 9, 2016 and November 28, 2012, followed a similar pattern as outlined here in the chart. Quoting him, if this sequence continues, the next bull market cycle high should occur in late August to early September of 2025. Let me know if you agree with that sentiment. Brandt added that no method of analysis is foolproof when it comes to guessing the Bitcoin cycle high, but past highs have followed a similar growth pattern, and if it continues, he puts a bull market high in the $130,000 to $150,000 range. Brandt's analysis marks December 17, 2022 as the start of the current bull market. Bitcoin was trading at roughly 16,800. How many of you were buying the dip and seizing that opportunity back then when we were trading at 16,800? Let me know. And since Bitcoin has gained over 300% to now trading above 69,000 per coin, Bitcoin is down from its March 14th all-time high. So we're currently down 4,000 from the all-time high. But my personal prediction is I feel we recapture those losses and re-enter price discovery mode sometime here in June, with June just getting started. But I want to know your thoughts. And do you think we also hit the cycle peak in 2025 as Peter Brandt is predicting? And how high do you personally feel the Bitcoin price action is likely to climb? I think that's extremely conservative, just in my opinion. So in my personal opinion, I think as a cycle low, I'm thinking 222,000. And as the cycle high, as high as 750,000. So the middle would be around that 420 to $500,000 range. But I want to know your thoughts. How high do you think we're likely to climb for the cycle peak? And do you think the cycle peak will occur in 2025, as Peter Brandt predicts and as I suggest? Or do you think it could potentially happen this year? I want to know your personal thoughts. Now, I am very optimistic on Bitcoin for the obvious reasons. Bitcoin is in unprecedented times. It seems everyone is pro-crypto now, even the United States government, something we have never experienced before. For example, candidate Trump, who is running for president, said he vows to basically protect our right to self-custody. And he also says he is going to pardon Ross Ulbricht, the Silk Road founder, on day one if he is elected president. So I think he's going to get all the crypto votes, because we all know Biden is anti-crypto. He's anti-Bitcoin, him and his goons like Senator Elizabeth Warren, right? Gary Gensler, the rest of these mofos. So I want to know your thoughts. Also, we have a tremendous amount of institutional FOMO, which was not present in the previous cycle. Retail hasn't even began yet. We have the supply shock, the lowest number of Bitcoin available on the exchanges currently. Now we have nation state adoption. We have many other countries contemplating adopting Bitcoin as a legal tender, following in the footsteps of President Bukele. We have sovereign wealth funds. So there's just so much upside. And when you start to contemplate the finite limited supply of Bitcoin, you realize there's not a lot of Bitcoin to go around. Not even every millionaire on the planet can say they're a whole coiner. In fact, there's 2,500 billionaires estimated to be on the planet. Well, what if the next Michael Saylor comes around and takes advantage of 1% of the Bitcoin supply? The ETFs have already accumulated 5% of the circulating supply. MicroStrategy already has 1% of the circulating supply. Michael Saylor said their goal is to have 5% of the circulating supply. That means they're looking to go from 200,000 Bitcoin to 1 million. How many other big companies can do that when you have massive game theory in full effect, right? And now you have the adoption from the states in the United States, like I just mentioned earlier in the intro of the show. University professor of the state of Wisconsin Investment Board says they're buying $160 million worth of the Bitcoin ETF. What if all the other countries or states follow suit? I mean, very limited amount of perfect money. And nobody wants to be that person that don't get their Bitcoin. Because if you're too late to the party, you're going to be missing out. There's going to be countries that don't start stacking sats till Bitcoin is 100,000 plus. Some countries won't start stacking sats to Bitcoin is 1 million plus. But one thing I do firmly believe, that every country and nation state will have exposure to Bitcoin, whether directly or indirectly, because to not would be to get left behind, in my personal opinion. But let me know your thoughts. I'm going to read as many of your comments out loud as I can. Welcome to the Q&A segment of the live show. Can't get into the specifics, but my brother is a senior partner with one of the biggest accounting firms in the country. Gives me insight every once in a while and says they are all for Bitcoin. Wow, that's massive. Doug, I appreciate you sharing. I met Peter Brandt in 2018 at the World Crypto Con in Vegas. Word up. Let me know if it was a pleasurable experience. For some reason, the old man blocked me on X, and I don't know why. So I'm not so fond of Peter Brandt, even though I do still share his analysis. Just FYI. October 2025 will be the top. Got you on the pool speaker now. Neighbors are getting baptized with crypto news alerts. That's what's up. If you're going to do a baptism, you might as well be playing crypto news alerts. Bitcoin is unstoppable. I'm with you on that. I want to go to Nashville so bad for the conference. He told me about medical marijuana 10 years ago before it all happened. Wow. 130,000 for the first week of August, says JC Ice Baby. 225,000 by the end of the year, and 500 to 750,000 for the cycle peak mid-2025. Now we're talking. Send it. Trump went full orange on Bitcoin. Precisely. Pretty much did. The dynamics of the cycle are completely different than before. Empires, nations, countries, states, ETFs, pensions, you, me, all piling in. This post-halving event may mimic the first halving. 98x. That's right. We soared over 8,000%. So if it was 9,000%, would that not be 90x? Bring it. Eyes are open. Amen. No fear. I dig it. Max Kaiser's the man. This cycle will be the break the pattern, JV, just like we hit the all-time high prior to the halving this time. That's right. Another thing that's different. Below 400,000, I would not call it a completed cycle. 580,000 would be, says Steven. Word up. Only Bitcoiners in the pool. Adult Swim. Stack them stats, fam. Amen to that. My lowest average cost of Bitcoin on one of my trading platforms is 29,600. What happens when JP and the Fed decide to put Bitcoin on their books? Good question. The world is waking up to Bitcoin to see the power it is. At this point, you have to have Bitcoin to survive. What's a coming? Amen. Can I get an amen? What's your thoughts on Trump at the UFC fight? Bullish. Yeah, I was watching that fight. Everyone was chanting for Trump and FJB, F Joe Biden the entire night. I thought that was pretty lit. UFC fans are all fans of Trump because if you're a UFC fan, you're a fan of Dana White, Donald Trump, besties. That's why Trump is at every major pay-per-view UFC event. Do you want 10x? I want my Bitcoin at 10x. You damn straight. Send that price action to 700,000. How about a 70x? Or 100x from here? Good Lord. 7 million per coin? Bring it.